Hello, and welcome to the CBL Changeup. I'm Mark Pare. Today, we take a look at the Hamilton Cardinals as part of our continuing coverage of all 9 teams in the CBL ahead of the 2026 campaign. I caught up with the president and owner of the team, Eric Spearin, on all things Cardinals, from player transactions, just the makeup of this team, having the defending MVP on the roster yet again, second time in 3 years, by the way, along with Tyler Duncan from a couple of years ago. You have Owen Boon as part of this roster, and the situation that they have with the St. Louis Cardinals. The latest that we have on that, you hear it right from the horse's mouth, if you will. Eric Spearin is our conversation on the Hamilton Cardinals and their season preview. Pleased to be joined by the owner and president of the Hamilton Cardinals, Eric Spearin. Thanks for making the time here tonight to discuss some Cardinals baseball coming up. The 2026 season just less than a week away here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark. I don't know where the time went. I can't believe it's already here.
Have you been able to kind of unwind and kind of do your own thing? It feels like you've had a busy off season.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. I mean, with all the changes that we've had with the league, yeah, it's been quite a bit. And then, of course, like there's other stuff going on in everybody's lives, across the league as owners, right? So, yeah, I've been busy with my other businesses as well.
Maybe take me through a day in the life of yourself that maybe the average fan might not actually realize, because they think, okay, baseball season's done. Okay, we're just going to forget about baseball for the next 6 months. That's not something that you can afford to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in the off season that gets done. I'm fortunate that my wife is pretty heavily involved with the team year round. And then we also have Sophie Samek, our director of operations. And those two have been like very busy since the season wrapped up. We had the AGM, and a lot of the new changes with the league were formalized at that time. And then a lot of it's kind of going through back at the stadium and taking anything off site, because you don't want to leave stuff at the stadium, especially in a rural area, kind of like where Mohawk Sports Park is. And then from there, doing inventory and placing all the orders and concessions. And I think the most interesting part about like the Cardinals to me is the fact that it's kind of like multiple business units. Like you have so many different hats that you have to wear. So we're doing all that stuff. And then, of course, you have the baseball, right? And the baseball operations side, and, deciding, what, players are going to come back for the following season, and, trying to craft the team. So, yeah, there's quite a bit.
To kind of rip the Band-Aid off of the situation, I know recently you guys came public with a statement regarding a little bit of a tiff, I guess. Probably the best way to call it from my point of view, between yourself, the Hamilton Cardinals, and the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm not going to put words in your mouth here. What's the latest that you can tell us about what that situation involves, and I guess where are we at today with it?
Yeah, so we filed a trademark application back in 2023, early 2023. And then the St. Louis Cardinals opposed that trademark application about midway in 2025, I believe. And so since then, we've kind of just been going through the process of our trademark application. St. Louis has opposed it. I mean, we feel pretty strongly about our position. It's a very unique logo. Our logo looks distinctively Hamilton, right? Like you got a pretty aggressive cardinal with a bat over its shoulder in the shape of and the bat weight is in the shape of like a hammer. And so, we think it's extremely distinct. And then, like the St. Louis Cardinals have, in my opinion, like we used to share the same stadium with one of their minor league affiliates from 88 to 92, and there was no issue with us using the Cardinals name back then. So I'm not sure if the ownership structure of St. Louis actually owned the minor league affiliate team back then, or what that was, but they certainly obviously had an affiliation with that club. So, yeah, I mean, we're pretty hopeful that we're going to be able to continue to use the name and our logo because it's pretty distinct. So we're going to continue to defend the application and go through with the process.
Now, taking a look at the on-field product here, I mean, everybody's wearing that logo that you have proudly on your shirt there, your sweatshirt right now. A team that went 21-21 a season ago, swept in the semifinals against Barrie. You did get that playoff victory over Chatham Kent in the first round, taking them out of the playoffs. When you look at 2026, when you think back to 2025, what are some of the holes that this team was looking to fill? And do you feel like you're at a point where you filled those gaps and you'll be able to kind of be above 500 this time around?
Yeah, I think I think the top priority for us was maybe improve the offense and the defense. We felt pretty confident with the pitching and our Canadian bullpen as well. And now you have 3 additional imports coming in this season across the league. I think the league's going to be so competitive this year. And so the way that we kind of looked at things was, well, now we have 3 import spots coming in, and we're going to try to lean in on what we're really good at on the Canadian side, and that's how we were going to decide how else we were going to use the import spots. So with our a very strong Canadian bullpen, obviously we have Owen Boon, the best Canadian pitcher out there as our ace, and so we went pretty heavy with imports on the positional side, which we hope is going to really, again, kind of improve like our defense on the infield, but also give us even more spark in the lineup.
You mentioned Owen Boone wins the MVP award last season as well. July 10th still sticks out to me like it was yesterday. The no-hitter, the first 9-inning no-hitter in the league in 47 seasons. Proudly, I got to call that game, which is something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. It was also the first game under new management, Luis Bernardo taking over as field manager as well. He comes back his first full season. What do you feel about the job that Bernardo did at the tail end of last season to bring him back again to get his first full season crack at being a field manager here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a much better second half on the field. Once Bernardo took over, I think we added a lot more structure for the players. I think our players were really looking for that. And so we're excited to kind of see, like with a full year, how we do with Bernardo as manager. And I think, Bernardo is also kind of like the GM of our import players. And so we do feel like having an import manager is a leg up and gives us a competitive advantage when securing import players as well.
What's the conversations been like during the off season with him in terms of, hey, this guy versus this guy, the amount of trips I'd imagine that you guys have probably have had to take, or even just scouting videos in general? Maybe take me inside the room, if you will. Disclose as much as you can without kind of tipping off everybody, obviously. But what has that process been like?
Yeah, we have like a group. We have a group that it's like a baseball operations department that makes all like the player personnel decisions. So it's Corey Eckstein, Perry Scott, Jamie Lever, Matt Creeley, and myself. Like we're kind of together, almost operating almost like a boardroom, like operating on like a almost GM by committee on making decisions. And of course, Bernardo is a part of those conversations. So we took a pretty good look together on what we want to do in the off season, and then in December, myself, Corey, and Matt went down to the Dominican Republic, down to San Pedro, which is where Bernardo lives, and we held a tryout and got to see some more players in person, and we felt like that was that was really how we ended up on deciding on who our new import players are this year. We do have Dominguez and Adamas coming back, but yeah, it was a really good trip to like get down there and actually meet guys face to face, and there's only so much you can do by video or looking at stats, right? And then we kind of leave it up to Bernardo to finalize those conversations and the signings, while we head back to Canada. But yeah, that's really kind of like our process, at least on the import side.
Now, you mentioned Dominguez. Of course, he was a mainstay in right field in the second half of the year. Center field, Tyler Duncan. A lot of familiar names coming back, but there's some new blood coming in to the Cardinals organization here as well. Namely Danny Garcia coming over from Kitchener, Jeremy Vu coming over from Brantford as well. Who are some of the other faces that might not be too familiar to Hamilton fans right now, but I'm sure will be familiar very soon?
Yeah, and I think on the Canadian side, Evan McGill,
Yeah.
we expect Evan to catch, to be the starting catcher all year. Evan had a really a standout career um, in NAIA with I think it was Tennessee Wayland, and we had Corey and Luis were watching some of his college film, and we were just so impressed by Evan, and we're excited to again have a really strong Canadian presence behind the plate. I think that's opens up and gives us more of a competitive advantage on how we can use the import spots. And then when we were down in the DR, we got to meet Hector Jan. Of course, we knew Hector playing against him, but it was my first time meeting with him, and I thought he was a great guy. He's so impressive, and he was the first guy to throw at the tryout. He waited until all the way till the end of the tryout, to speak with us again. He was very interested in becoming a Hamilton Cardinal, and we really, really appreciated that. And we're very excited to add a left-handed starting pitcher. So, Hector performed amazing in the tryout. We were really impressed. He was the best guy there throwing, and so we think Hector's going to add a lot to the rotation with already Boon and Adamas. And then we also added another pitcher, Luis Ramirez, who has a prior relationship or friendship with Freezus Adamas, and Luis is a pretty experienced pitcher. Pitched in the American Association with Winnipeg, was kind of a mainstay there for a couple seasons, and kind of expect him to maybe be maybe contribute in bullpen, but also has the ability to maybe start as well. So again, picked up a couple arms, but then on the offense side, we've got Anderson Feliz, who I believe played as high as AAA and in the minors, and Feliz can play pretty much the middle infield. So we expect Anderson, he's kind of a veteran guy, to come in and really help us. And then again, just more offense, more infield support. Rainy Reyes is joining us as well, who played affiliate ball in the Cincinnati Reds organization, and I believe he played in the Dominican Summer League last year and led the league in home runs. So pretty excited what we're going to get out of him, and then Darlin Herman, who's probably well regarded as one of the best bats, or one of the best veteran bats that have kind of helped like the amateur Dominican Republic national teams over the years, and pretty excited to kind of see how he translates over to our league. But again, he's a veteran guy, and these are all guys also that Bernardo knows or has gotten to know or has had pretty strong referrals. And then the outfield, we're also adding Angel Guerrero. And Angel Guerrero, younger guy, has he's been invited overseas to Japan and into some of the academy programs out there, and we're pretty excited with what he can do. He can actually pitch as well, and he even I believe pitched at the tryout too. So yeah, excited to see what we get out of Angel as well. So yeah, lots of new faces. It's going to be definitely going to be a pretty exciting year for us.
When I listen to you about a lot of these new faces, the one thing that really kind of carries with me is very happy guys, good guys that is going to create a good atmosphere in the room, and I feel like that's an important thing as well. Having a tight knit group that it's just a welcoming atmosphere for everybody to enjoy coming to the ballpark every single day.
Yeah, for sure. Like we've always run the team in a professional environment, I feel like. But now also, yeah, certainly, we have an import coaching staff, and we've also brought in Pedro Perez, who's going to be an assistant coach with Luis. So we really want to bring in like a very good core of imports, because we do feel like we have a really good core of Canadian players as well. So we just really wanted to strengthen that on the import side. Again, our Canadian core, I think, is very hard, as you know, right, to find Canadian players that can play at elite level in our league. And we feel like with Owen, Tyler, Brandon Nickel, our bullpen, Hospital, Soroski, like we have Tanner Rempel at first base, one of the best defensive first basemen in the league. Like we have some really, really good Canadian players. And so again, we felt really confident on that side. We just want to really strengthen up the import side and provide more stability there. And some of that is personality, right? And making sure that we think they're going to gel with what we're building here in Hamilton.
With everything that you guys have done during the off season, and obviously with, I would imagine, more moves to come during the season, as every team ends up doing in this league on a year-to-year basis. Just 5 playoff spots up for grabs. Do you feel like the Hamilton Cardinals can be a playoff team in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Like, we always put our best foot forward in terms of like on the field. We're going to do whatever it takes to be competitive. And like I said, try to get a really we try to really treat the guys really well and have a good environment. On our player recruitment. We've had 2 MVPs in the past 3 years, which is pretty good. So yeah, I think we're well positioned to compete. The league is so strong though. Like if you think about it, every game is going to mean that much more this year. I mean, it already felt like that last year, and now it's like it's already like been turned up. It's almost like the volume is turned up all the way, like the past few years, and now it's like even more. It's like wow, like every game is really going to matter. I think that's great. It's great for the players. It's great for the fans. The competition's good. So I'm looking forward to it, but we got to see. Still got to play all the games, right? So it's a long way till September.
Now, I feel bad for just glossing over Tyler Duncan. Oh, he's just an outfielder. No, he's an MVP from a couple of years ago, and I was looking at his numbers before we got onto here. Very comparable 2025 to his MVP year as well. And I need a prediction from you. Does he take the home run derby again this year?
Oh man,
Sorry
I
to put you
mean,
on the
you
spot, but I'm
gotta,
curious.
yeah. I guess to be the, I know you like your wrestling quotes, right? So like to be the man, you got to beat the man, right? So
That's right.
yeah, I mean, I think Tyler is, he's you look at what he's done in our ballpark, right? And not just talking about the home run derby, but like just in general. Yeah, we're playing a very pitcher friendly ballpark. And as you know, there's so many smaller ballparks across the league, and he does what he's able to do with us. Just playing in the regular season. Continues to have an outstanding career. He's set single season records with us. Offensively, franchise records. Um, and so I think you put him into was one of those ballparks like a Chatham. Um, yeah, I think yeah, that right field fence in Chatham. I think Tyler's gonna have a pretty good day when he's out there. I think maybe look at his career numbers in Chatham and see what he's he's done there. Yeah, it's been a pretty good ballpark for us offensively.
If you're watching this, Tyler, no pressure. No pressure at all. Well, the season is just around the corner. Eric, thank you so much for joining us here today, and wishing you guys the very best in the 2026 season.
Yeah, thanks so much, Merck. We'll talk to you soon.
Eric Spearin of the Hamilton Cardinals, and this has been another edition of the CBL Changeup. We will see you next time.